William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
14 districts and one with the mayor. So we have actually 15 that we could have. We've had 2 additional ones. I'd like to introduce Mr. Kobe Ransom. He is our manager for everything that we do. Because he's over West Dallas and he's with seniors as well. And so what I'd like to do without further ado is introduce to you our Senior Affairs Commission Chair, Ms. Sharon Fine. Sharon, come up. She was appointed by the mayor, and she's going to tell you more about today's program.
You can stand where I can stand where I want, right? I can figure out how this thing works. Okay, good morning. So, let me start by saying thank you for coming, citizens of Dallas, citizens of this district. My name is Sharon Fine, and it's an amazing privilege to serve as your chair of the Senior Affairs Commission for the City of Dallas. I began in October of this year, and while I'm new to this commission, I'm not new to aging population in our city. I've lived here for 30 years, raised a family, and I have actively been involved both professionally and on a volunteer level for the older adult population. And now serving as your chair of the Senior Affairs Commission, I get to take that to the next level, and that's very exciting for me. And I want to welcome Trini Garza, who I have preceded, and what amazing shoes. Very hard. I don't know that I'll ever fill them, but I just want to recognize that you're here today with us. Thank you so much. Just adore you. For me, there is no greater population to serve than this one. And this comes very personally to me from a place of very deep respect. I truly believe that the greatest lessons in life come from relationships with our older adults, the people who have been through years and years, longer than I have, longer than most of my contemporaries have, on how to handle life from a different seat other than the way we are today. And I won't say what we're doing today is negative with millennials and technology, because that is where we are. However, I like to touch people, and I like to look at them in their eyes and have a conversation, and I like to hear the history, because that's how I learn, because I have so much respect from where they came from. And that's kind of how I'm trying to orchestrate a new administration in the Senior Affairs Commission, is to bring us to a place of true respect and compassion. Let's make Dallas the city of compassion. Can I lower this thing? Oh, good. My glasses on. I want to share with you what our vision and what our mission is. And it's a new adoption. We've tweaked it a little bit from the past Senior Affairs Commission membership. So this year our mission is to advance quality of life for adults ages 55 and older in the city of Dallas. And our vision, which I think is so attainable, I know that we'll get here, support Dallas becoming the city where older adults are recognized for their contributions. And that's what I'm talking about. What can we learn from what you've done? You've done so much more than we have. Involved in decision making. We want our older adults to actively make decisions because they can. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just getting older and wiser. And to treat these population with dignity and respect. I think it's missing. I think it's missing in our world, in our culture. I think it's missing nationally, locally, and I'm determined. I stand on that very firmly, that dignity and respect must be met. I do want to thank our Mayor, Mike Rollins, for his confidence in me to lead this amazing group of commissioners representing our districts. And I want to recognize the commissioners that are here, so if you would please stand just for a second. That's you, Ms. Benenson, Commissioner Benenson, Commissioner Baker. Please stand if you're recognized. Thank you for being here this morning. And with that, I'm going to move on to our agenda. Right here in my paperwork, and I'll bring my little microphone. off, sorry, screaming in your ears, and we'll take a look here, right? So I am to cover what I am to cover, and I don't want to cover more because I can keep talking and talking, and I know I shouldn't. So here we go. One more mention of gratitude, because this is really important for you to know that putting the listening sessions together is a chore and a great task, and without Kobe Ransom, our administrator, and Valencia Hooper, who coordinates the social work aspect of care management for the Office of Community Care Senior Affairs Programs, did I get it right? And to Mikhail Hart, who's not present, Lynn Jenkinson, who's not present, and Anna Camacho. These people have worked tirelessly to create 17 listening sessions, and we're not done. We're going to keep going. Data collection is our key. So here we are. A little overview of the commission, our budget highlights, Office of Community Care Senior Services, and what's next moving forward. So we are a 15-member board. We are an advisory committee. So we're not legislative action. We are to advise our council people in our districts, and then we are to advise the mayor of the growing needs of the senior population. And I think we're doing a good job. These listening sessions are helping us. So we are appointed by a council member, each one representing a district, as I said, and one mayor's appointment, that's me. And we hold a meeting the third Monday of each month, except in July, and I encourage you to attend, please. Your participation and your vision and your words are important across generations. And I'm delighted to see young people here today. That just makes me really happy. So we can move on. Next slide.
That's your next slide.
Oh, sorry. So, hello. We serve as advocates for seniors in the city within our districts, and advocates. So we can talk a lot, and we can make a ton of noise, and we can help impress what your needs are, but we need your voice. We serve as advisors to council members on the emerging senior issues, and we seek opportunities to enhance the quality of life for all seniors in the city of Dallas. So we have a large job. I've asked the commissioners this year under my administration to do more, to be more of a face in our community. We are currently working on completing and adopting new goals, and we're on our way. Okay. So 2017-2018 budget highlights was the dental health program, and we've increased funding from 25% to 325% from $300,000 to $375,000 out of the general fund. Senior Service Employment Program funding increased 20% from $88,000 to $105,006 in the general fund, and Senior Services Ombudsman Program funding increased 46% from $50,000 to $73,049, and that's through the Community Development Block Grant. Tax exemption. On June 28, 2017, our City Council approved an increase to the city $64,000 property tax exemption to $90,000 for seniors and 65 years and older or disabled seniors. And to give seniors a tax break, the city will forego $13.8 million in revenue in its upcoming budget at the current tax rate. So this allows seniors to age in place and protect them from soaring property values. A grand accomplishment for us. Senior service programs, something that I'm so proud of, and then I'll have Valencia come up. I'll have this slide, and then we'll have Valencia explain all the programs. There are so many things that this department does. It's amazing. We're just a teeny tiny staff, so we're really proud of their accomplishments, and what they're going to roll out this year is remarkable. So the Office of Community Care was created to provide social and supportive services designed to help create equality for seniors, children, and other people in financial need to improve their quality and standard of living. And that's under the direction of Nadia Chandler Hardy, Chief of Community Services, who's new to Dallas. Well, I don't know, 8 or 9 months now, 10 months. newer. And then the Senior Services Division falls under the Office of Community Care. It's the people who you're looking at, our staff, under the direction of Jessica Galashaw. She's our new managing director, and she's amazing. So we're very lucky. We have great people. And I'll turn it over to Valencia now, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ransom. The Senior Services Program goal is to enhance the quality of life of citizens 60 and older living in the city of Dallas. We have approximately 150,000 and growing. So you just move it up. It could be 200,000. You know, some people live, some people die, but it fluctuates and it's growing. And they are just as varied in that number as the number is varied. We accomplish this through a couple of things. First, we do a lot of community outreach events. This is one that is part of what we do. We want to educate people. Our staff is small, as Commissioner Fine alluded to. It's myself and 3 caseworkers. We can't do 150,000 people, and we are responsible for all 14 districts. So one of the ways we try to reach people is through community education and outreach, and partnering and collaborating with other agencies, such as the Senior Source, Linda Ender, who's representing that, and Area Agency on Aging, Community Council, Greater Dallas Area Agency on Aging, get it right, Brittany, and AARP, which you'll hear of Texas. You'll hear about them later, but that's one of the ways that we stretch what we do, and I think it's awesome. We also have individual case management that we do, so people call us and we assist them with navigating the senior services spectrum of care, as well as their caregivers. It's not long-term case management, it's usually information and referral, but it's a step up from 211. We have a few programs that we are overseeing. One is, and these are contractual programs, so with our small staff, we're not actually driving people around. We have a senior medical transportation program, senior dental program, senior ombudsman program. We have contracts with the Senior Source for their ombudsman program and their employment program, and then we partner with Texas Ramps to make applications for the Texas Ramp project, which not only works with seniors but disabled people as well. And then we have, through the City of Dallas Water Utilities Program, a water share program to help those who have water leaks and high water bills, so we can help them on a once a year basis to reduce that water bill. Let's talk a little bit about those programs. With the Senior Medical Transportation, which I'm extremely excited about, this program has probably been growing for the last 8 years to where now we have a subcontract with a company that will pick up seniors throughout the city of Dallas and take them anywhere they want to go for medical appointments today within the city of Dallas. I said today because we find out that our doctors change, they end up going to Plano and Richardson, and our seniors don't move. And so then they're trying to stay with that same doctor because we know those doctors accept Medicare and Medicaid. It's hard to change. So we're going to look and see if we can try to help that a little bit. We also can help them, those with in wheelchairs and have mobility issues. This service has a ramp, and they also will allow someone to go with them, like a caregiver, to listen to what their doctor is saying. Because many of us have gone to the doctor, me included, and they told me stuff, and I don't know what they said when I left. So having somebody with you is always a good thing. So this is a great service, and it is, as we mentioned, the service of last resort. So if the senior is eligible for like Medicaid transportation, we encourage them to do that. Or if they have other means of transportation, they're married and their spouse can take them, we encourage them to do that. But if not, they can use this service free of charge. The operations are 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I've already mentioned everything else that's on that slide. Our senior dental health program, and I don't know if I mentioned that, it's one of the subcontracts we had earlier. That program, again, has been around for a few years, and it was kind of dormant for a couple of years, and now we've opened it back up with a vengeance, which is great, because now we have 2 places that seniors can get free dental services. And if any of you have had to see a dentist lately, you don't have insurance, like I pretty much don't, it is expensive. Will provide them with free dental exams, free fillings, cleanings, fluoride treatments, sealings, extractions, root canals, and treatment for infections and oral health. I said it because I had to have a root canal recently and it's no fun. And when you can get this free with good dentists, it's great. And they are very good. And we partner, again, through our collaborations with Texas A&M University College of Dentistry, we're able to provide this service for seniors. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, one of the sites is near here.
It sure is.
It's on Junius
The
and
next slide.
Haskell.
Oh, yeah.
And they have 6 chairs. So for people who live in this district,
That's
it
good.
should be easy access.
We have, thank you, Commissioner Benison. We have flyers in the back, and it should also list where those are. I thought the next slide had it. So it is there, but you do need to call. You do have to make a reservation, and they will take information from you. And if you are able to pay something, they may say you pay a small fee, because there are some people who have the funds to pay, but there are so many people who don't. And this is not generally something that Medicaid covers routinely. And if you don't have Medicaid and you're in that bowl that I say of a senior that is, yes, it's here. A senior, thank you, Mr. Ransom. A senior who's making about around 2,500 and under, and over 800 will not get Medicaid. It's hard to get some services. So this is kind of really geared to that person. So those addresses are North Dallas Shared Ministry at 2875 Merrill Road. It's on this flyer, you don't have to write it down. And Agape Clinic, which is on Junior Street, at 4101 Junior Street. Now we have a senior ombudsman program. As you know, that is a state-mandated federal program administered through the Senior Source and funded through the Area Agency on Aging. However, we give them a little money, because when we give them a little money, they can do a little bit more for our seniors who live in the city of Dallas. And that's great, because a lot of the nursing homes are in Dallas, and a lot of our seniors want to stay in their zip code, and having that extra ombudsman to kind of go and see what's going on with them, it's really good. Case in point, I had a gentleman call me just this week who is in a nursing home, and he was with his daughter. The two of them shared a suite, and they were on Medicaid, but this particular nursing home would allow them to do that. She died, so now he has no one. And through the Senior Source, he's able to have someone to check on him and address his needs, because he's having a problem right now. And I think that's good. And that extra dollar that we give helps that, as well as getting ready to look at a lot of our assisted living facilities, which are booming up, and our personal care homes. And we need the ombudsman program to look at that, because a lot of people don't want to be in what's called an institution like a nursing home, which they may say, what do they call them, rehab center, they're nursing homes. They're in assisted living. Yes,
You just mentioned.
they're in assisted living. And assisted living centers are more apartments and independent living with care coming in, or personal care homes. And they need someone to look after their care as well. The Older Americans Employment Initiative, again, was birthed through the Senior Affairs Commission, which I think is great, and has now been at the Senior Source for probably 8 years, if not longer. And what it does is it helps seniors and persons 55 and older, because that's the number for the Senior Source. Our number is 60 and older, so we can still rock and roll with that. And we help them find employment. Oftentimes, when a senior is healthy and able to work, they want young people like Brittany to work for them. They don't want us old folks there. So we help the older through this program. We help the older resident find employment by helping them with their resume, helping them with LinkedIn now, because you don't do resumes, helping them work the internet on how to find a job. Seeking jobs are so different than what they were 20, 30 years ago. It's just very different. And especially if someone's had a job for the last 40 years, and now they're looking for additional employment. It is difficult for them. So this is what that program helps them with. And annually, they host a large job fair for seniors. And in that, they'll have about 300 to 600 people come, and over 100 employers seeking older employees at that event. Texas Ramp Program, I mentioned that earlier, is a statewide volunteer program of people who know how to put ramps in. Most of the ramps that you may see around our city were probably put in through Texas Ramps. They use volunteers. They have this down, and that's all they do, and they are great. And what they have asked us to do is take the information. We do it electronically. We also work with hospital social workers and other discharge planners because they can do it, and family members can do this as well. But you can put the information in, they get it, they talk with the senior, go visit the house, they discuss what the ramp's gonna look like, they build it, and it's usually no charge at all to the senior. If they choose to give a donation, they take it, but if not and they don't have it, it's fine. Our watershed program, which I mentioned last, is a program in collaboration with the city of Dallas. Now, I work for the city, and there are different programs. We all kind of have to work together to make things work for our seniors, and that's one of my roles, to be an advocate for seniors through city services. And this one was one in which we love our water department, which they have a lot of programs that they kind of target towards seniors. But this one in particular helps a senior with a high water bill, and that is caused due to a leak. And generally our seniors are on fixed income. They are very good. They know how to do a budget, and they realize that their water bill has increased. They call us. We talk to them about how to get that fixed. We may be able to connect them with our minor home repair program, which is not part of our program, but it's still within the city. It's not minor anymore, it's the home repair program. And they work on major systems repairs. But we may get them to that, but in the meantime, we can hold their water from being disconnected by letting the water company through email know that they have a leak. They're working with us. Once the leak is repaired, then we're able to help them reduce that bill after they have it adjusted by the water company, so that they can continue to live and be good citizens and good stewards of what we have for them. And I can tell you, it is so warming and so just rendering to know that we're able to help someone who is truly stressing over a water bill they cannot afford. And the water bill can go up to $500-$600 in 1 month. So we help them with that. And then sometimes there are extenuating circumstances that little bit of money we can give them, maybe $100, will help them get something fixed or something removed, like a tree off their house. They can pay $100 for that. We can pay the water bill, and then they can live better. But we just work on the situation, or other little things may come up. And finally, moving next, we will have Ms. Susan. This is your time. She's going to talk to us about our collaboration with the Age Friendly Initiative. And this has been a 4-year initiative with her. And it's a national event, and she's going to tell you more about it.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's great to see everyone this morning. My name is Susan Williams. I'm the Associate State Director for AARP Texas. And I've been working with the city and about 45 community partners for a couple of years trying to develop an age-friendly communities plan for the city. So the Network of Age-Friendly Communities is a World Health Global Initiative, and AARP is the U.S. affiliate that works on it. So livable communities become great places for people of all ages by adopting features like safe, walkable streets, better housing, transportation options, access to services, and opportunities for residents to participate in other activities. So we started in 2014. Mayor Rawlings signed Dallas up as part of the network. And then since then, we've been meeting with the largest group of community stakeholders to work on the plan. And so today is your opportunity to really talk to Sharon. She's going to take your feedback back. We did start out the project by going around and doing a lot of these community sessions and listening to folks. We did an AARP member survey. We did listening posts in all the libraries. And so now we're doing one last kind of circle around to make sure we're capturing the ideas. I already said all that. You can go to the next one. Oh, Is there one that just has domains? Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to be kind of trying to facilitate the discussion today around the domains of livability. And Sharon, you want to come up here with me so folks can share your... So we started on, the first one is outdoor spaces and buildings. We want to make sure there's good recreational facilities. Part of the plan that we have so far is trying to make sure there's more programming for seniors in the different recreational buildings and things. And then also accessing sidewalks turned out to be a really big issue. People couldn't get to their rec centers in their communities because there weren't sidewalks. We're trying to address some of those. So ideas around outdoor spaces and buildings that you'd like us to include in the plan and talk about today.
And Mr. Ransom is handing out a document that if you have a pen, or I can
Give you a pen. It would be great if we can collect this data from you this morning as it pertains to outdoor spaces, buildings, availability of safe and accessible recreational facilities. If you have suggestions, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be writing them down as well.
And if you have any comments, if you want to shout them out, we'll have Susan write them down. Yes, please.
One thing that we've done, I don't think many of us anticipated just even a few months ago, is the increasing problem with the shared bikes preventing access to buildings and sidewalks. So just because we're old doesn't mean we're not aware of bicycles. So let's be sure that is brought to someone's attention.
That's great. That's a good comment. Thank you very much.
I believe that they're also really looking at that. Some of the council people have brought that to everyone's attention because they are, did you want to make a comment about that? Because they are so dangerous. They are a nuisance and a menace on our streets. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I work with Councilman Callahan.
Yes.
And the bike initiative is something that has been brought back to committee to try and resolve the situation of the bikes being just laying on the streets, parking in front of people's homes and things like that. And I believe, I believe it's the end of the month is they'll come up with a plan that will go before council.
Yeah, those bikes are ending up in my neighborhood, which is Preston and Arapahoe. I don't know how these people are riding all across town or throwing them in their car.
There was one on my street yesterday.
Yeah, or getting them in the bus, in the buses, wherever. Go ahead, Susan, what's the next one?
Well, I was going to start Parks and Recs. Linda? I think you've got something you want to say.
I was waiting for someone else too. Okay, well, so some of you know that I'm real concerned about older adults and isolation, older adults and recreation, lots of activities for them. A number of us have been doing advocacy that the Senior Affairs Commission has, but also the Aged program at the Senior Source on having senior centers in the city of Dallas. We only have one. It's Marcus Annex. It's the size of a good sized house, like 3,000 something square feet. It's up near LBJ and
It's Webb Chapel and
Webb Chapel, right? It's near anyway, up in that area.
Harry
It's it's further east than that. But,
Yeah, but it's Dennis Road, Denton Drive, and Harry House.
you know,
Anyway, it's in the northwest quadrant.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
way
you.
up-
There you go.
It's way up in the far northwest quadrant. And so, you know, some people say, oh yeah, we do have senior centers in the city. Well, not the city of Dallas. There may be churches, there may be Salvation Army, something like that. They're basically like a one-room situation. People can gather there for a little bit of socialization or something. But they are not like in the suburbs. The suburbs all around us have new senior centers. Some of them are newer than others, but you can go in there any time of the day and even into the evening, and there will be activities for you to do at all times, all right? So because of our advocacy, the Parks and Rec have started having senior programming in the mornings at recreation centers. That's good, but it's limited. It's only the mornings. You can't come in at any moment and there will be activities for people. And those activities are very limited. They may not be every day, you know? Like they may have something on a Wednesday morning, but no, they don't have that activity on the other mornings. It's very, very limited. Anyway, so we're appreciative that Parks and Rec are trying to step up and do more for seniors. It is not enough. We need to think about older adults and their being able to be active and engaged in the community. They need their own place, and because if they're in with the rest of the population, like in a recreation center, it morphs toward children, you know? It's not going, those activities will over time not be there, you know? Anyway, I'm very, very interested, and so are a lot of people in this room, interested in having senior centers in the city of Dallas.
And just to piggyback on that is not to forget the working senior, because seniors now have to work. There's no retirement for seniors really anymore. They gotta work, work, work. Sydney.
Well, I want to piggyback on Linda's statement because for about 6 years now, I've taken Tai Chi at a recreation center. It's an evening class. I was encouraged when there was more emphasis on senior programming because I thought, you know, my experience, my personal experience is still that the senior programming takes a back seat. When I take it at Lake Highlands, we moved from another recreation center to Lake Highlands Recreation Center. When I started there, we had a large, really nice room. And that was taken over and made a preschool playroom. So we were moved to a smaller room. And we still have it in that smaller room, but we get bumped every time. Like if there's any kind of meeting, most recently when there was an election, they put in the machines, they had the elections machines in that room. So we take a back seat to everything else. And a lot of times there is not a room for us to even have Tai Chi. We're trying to decide, do we have it in the hall?
Oh, dear. And that was Lake Highlands?
That was Lake Highlands.
See, that goes back to that respect. Where's the respect? Alfredia.
Like Linda was saying earlier about the seniors being in the rec centers. They're in there in the mornings in the rec center, but what happens later on to them? Not only that, I used to volunteer for a rec center through the AARP employment program. And when it was like that, when there was something going on with the children, you was just shelved aside. There was no place, they had a computer lab, but when the children started being there, the seniors could no longer use the computer lab because the children had to have the computer lab.
When are we going to stop shifting our seniors, right? Go ahead.
Tagging along with all these points, I'm a caregiver for my mom who's 88, just moved to Dallas last year, and we try to keep her active and the ASAP program from Parks and Rec has been a blessing. However, we go to Ridgewood Belcher near White Rock and to Lake Highlands North to split her in different, I'm a digital worker, so I have to do as I can, right? Options always help, but it's always limited to the mornings. The following point is mainly psychological, but the funding provided by the sponsorship of WellMed, I've been told is soon to expire. Well, the difference is only $5 a month. The fact that that's being repeated for information purposes is adding, you know, another block to a senior who has sometimes to be convinced to wake up early and go, you know, do chair exercise. as, you know, it's not in our favor because you have to, the trade-off is that you have to go a minimum of 8 times a month to partake in these activities, which, as was expressed, are limited in their variety, in their diversity, and their put at the back seat. So I wonder if the funding, if there's any use on any alternative funding that will be there next year as an incentive to seniors to go. And is there any, I also recently attended conversations organized by AARP or AARP at across the North Park at a restaurant. And a lot of the caregivers were talking about the seniors in their Metroplex area cities, right? Like Garland, Richardson, and what have you. And I was not informed at all of any senior centers in Dallas. I thought they'll have to sort of tag along and double with rec centers because they're not. So me, in my case, being an only child and the only caregiver for my mom, I appreciate that we have resources in the city, but certainly there are limitations, and this is one that I would support. And case in point, me.
Well, we'll just have to get you on a committee. Go ahead, Linda. Somebody else had something to say. Yes.
You know, it's ridiculous because you go to Richardson and there's always something. Sydney's providing a program for people who need to have a support group for people with dementia. Well, you know, there's lots and lots of seniors who are out there who need somebody to help them. There are all kinds of programs. They have health programs. They have everything else. I'm concerned about food. You know, congregate meals. I talked to Linda yesterday. That's real difficult to because the funding is always being cut and the rules and regulations are very stringent. But if you go over here to Farmers Branch, they have computer classes. They have everything. Same kind of thing in Richardson. I am doing some programs for the JCC, the Jewish Community Center. On Thursdays, they have free food, and the people that can come for that can go to the programming. And they go, well, why don't we have that someplace else in the city? Why is it the Jewish Community Center has to do this, and the city of Dallas can't do this for us? And that's shameful. It's shameful that we don't do
And I
this.
can say that in all the conversations we've had with the city council members, everybody recognizes the need for senior centers. It's you know, the financial issue is always a barrier. But we've captured all this and we are adding all this to the plan.
When you isolate a person and you don't even want to bring them if we get all the senior corps programs and we don't even bring them a meal,
Yeah.
then it's going to cost a lot more money because they're going to need psychiatric help, they're going to need, they're going to have, not go to the doctor, they're going to, you know, all the things that will be a problem in the end will be more costly.
Well, I'm determined, as the chair of this commission, is to have better relationships with Park and Rec, who have money for these things and have great long plans and lists of the new and wonderful things that they're going to do with the bond money they received. But it's going to take a while to develop it. But I will tell you that we are having conversations with them. I've already met with them. I have a meeting on Friday with them. And that it's going to be one of my strong walks, you know, to say, you have this money now, let's do something with it. And this information that you're giving to Susan will help with the age-friendly community and for us to get it fully adopted here in our city. And you have something to say right here.
We're actually building a project in West Dallas that will provide services to seniors. Our plan right now is to serve Dallas City Homes. We're an affordable housing developer. We're also building 15 apartments, 5 of which will be set aside for seniors at an affordable level. The programming we have for the services is going to essentially feed 65 seniors per day, Monday through Friday. It's also going to have music programming for kids, and it's also going to incubate an arts theater program. I think the idea for this project was to actually create an intergenerational vibe where it's inclusive and no one feels separated, but that's why we're here, is to hear what you guys need. But so far I'm feeling that you guys still need a separate thing, and I think we're trying to change the paradigm a little bit so that everybody can do the programming together, like seniors and the kids can interact. We can find ways to do that so no one has to feel left out. I don't know what your take on that is. You can talk to me after. I'll give you my card. And any feedback you can give us would be great.
I think intergenerational programming and stuff can be cool, but you have to be careful about, and the reason why we wanted to have a standalone senior center is if you have children, seniors don't feel really comfortable with a lot of kids around sometimes because they have mobility issues, they have stability issues, and here are these kids running around. Also, I mean, I hear stories about, like, in the rec center, at the workout equipment, people, like, here's a senior waiting their turn to get on because they don't have enough stuff, at our rec centers, and so, enough equipment and stuff. So they're waiting for the treadmill, and here comes someone younger and just jumps on there before they have a chance, and they've been waiting. Or they're standing there like this and looking at them, like, you're taking up your time on this treadmill, you're going really slow, Then, so there's, and then who wants to, if you're, if you're 80 years old and you want to do some water aerobics or some resistance walking in a pool, it's really healthy for you. Who wants to do that with, buff, 20, 30 years old? Our kids, young kids, jumping and hopping and splashing all around.
We don't have pools where we go to it.
Right. So, I mean, and then there's the whole case of, we've had experts tell us, you have them in together in the same facility, it morphs toward kids eventually, and they start out differently. That being said, I think there's a place for some intergenerational projects and all. It's just the idea of a shared facility. It may not work.
I'm going to try to move us along because we've got a lot of other areas, and I know we're running out of time right now, but that was great. I mean, I really appreciate all the feedback and comments about the outdoor spaces and buildings domain. Next one we wanted to talk about was transportation.
Could I add something like I could add to this? I think that one thing that we increase access to parks is outreach to limited English participants that do not feel welcomed because they don't think that when they come, they're going to be welcomed in a manner that they're accustomed to. A friendly attitude on the part of management and the staff, Spanish-speaking persons present there to welcome them, and just make it feel welcome.
I'd like to call that cultural competency training.
Yes.
We need it. Yes.
And then have programs there that will meet some of their needs.
I agree 100%. You're absolutely right.
I got that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Transportation.
Transportation. So as we did our listening and just started working on any of these projects, transportation seemed to be the key and the barrier to so many things. If you don't have transportation to get to the outdoor spaces and buildings, you can't get there. If you want to volunteer in your community or work, you can't do that if you don't have transportation. And, Vinci had talked a little bit about the medical transportation. That's critical, but not everybody, people shouldn't only be limited to having transportation for medical needs. So we're trying to figure out how to address some of these.
We are expanding it because wellness
Yes.
is part of healthcare. And to get exercise at the rec centers.
Yeah.
So we are looking to include that.
Yes, the Senior Affairs Commission is going to take a deep dive into the future funding for more than just medical transportation, because we know social isolation is an issue. Transportation is key. Sydney?
I speak to a lot of case managers in hospitals. One of the things that I see as a real problem is nobody knows about transportation, what is available. And so we need to do a better job of educating, particularly those social workers and nurses, case managers in the hospital and clinics, this type of thing.
So Brittany with MyRide is here, so grab her. I'm trying to grab her. She's a very busy girl, but
we also have a MyRide handbook.
yes, and we have a handbook in the back, but I have to tell you, if we want to bring and schedule Brittany, we can actually solicit her to come and present to whoever. So that's a great suggestion, Sue.
Yeah, we've done a lot of talking about how to give information to the seniors, but not to the caseworkers. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, those are the people that see seniors.
So I have something in my mind, so let me talk to two of you at the end. Okay, anybody else have anything to say about transportation? We'll move on.
I just want to mention real quickly that we are bringing an independent transportation network here to Dallas. It's going to be kind of housed with the Dallas Area Agency on Aging. Think of it kind of as an Uber for adults, so it's not a free service, but it's the only all-volunteer national model of volunteer drivers. And so people can sign up to drive people to appointments, and then they actually can bank their hours when they may need it later in life, or they can donate their hours to somebody else. So it's kind of a cool concept, and we're really excited that we're able to do that, and really appreciate the Area Agency on Aging stepped up to kind of house it, because we've been trying to get it going, but we needed it under a nonprofit somewhere. So.
Well, I know it's costly, but the Bubbles transportation thing for seniors is great. I mean, I think that makes people feel much more
Retired police officers.
It's just very expensive. You know,
It
we
is
have to,
expensive, but.
you know, so sometime in the future, the Senior Affairs Commission is going to work on a discount card for older adults. And these are the things that I need to talk to you about, and Bubble and all of these other organizations that have some steep fees, but see where we can come down and just have a card everybody can swipe. Okay, you want to move on to housing?
So I said transportation was something that came up all the time. The other one that came up was housing. Just a need for all varieties of housing, affordable housing. One thing that really surprised me, I guess, is that the middle income senior are the ones that really are having a lot of difficulty finding something affordable. So there's people that can afford to live at CC Young, and there's people that might qualify for some housing assistance, but people that are kind of in that mid-range really are being squeezed out of the rental market and stuff. So that was something that we learned. What are some of the other issues?
Well, we have the housing person. Did you leave? You're still here.
Emily, you want to say something?
Well, we bantered around, first of all, I wanted to just jump for a second back. When I was in school, one of the programs that we were initiating and trying to get started was banking hours by seniors to be used later. What has happened to this? You're saying it's now coming back, or it's just beginning here. How pervasive is this information, and how are we going to use it?
Well, it's just in its initial stages, so it hasn't happened yet. So once it's happened, we'll start doing a lot of outreach and trying to get people to volunteer and also people to use the service.
Because you can do it for
Brittany,
cohabitating, people who have a home, who cannot afford anything else, they can have someone come in and they can get a benefit from doing that, and both get a benefit from that.
You're talking about shared housing?
Shared housing.
Okay, so you're back on the housing issue. Okay, good, we're on housing.
Yeah.
So that program.
Shared ride and then
Shared housing. Oh, okay, so shared housing is still there.
Intergenerational also.
Oh, I have some questions about what city ordinances are in terms of, one, shared housing, and the other thing is vouchers. One is, our city code, a lot of single-family areas, does that prevent somebody from renting space in their homes? And if so, can we make a change in that?
Kobe, can you entertain that one?
There is a big issue right now with accessory dwelling units, and you cannot, currently, I don't believe that you can rent, a back house that you might have. You can. Or a garage apartment. So that.
I mean, it's done all the time, but it's not, it's against code.
It's done all the time, you're right, but I don't think that we actually have the ordinance in place to permit that.
But it's currently being addressed by
council. That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And it is the issue, and you cannot make them do that, but the developers who are putting up all these millions of apartments around will not accept vouchers to reduce the cost for those that cannot afford the full rent. And
Well, that was my other question, is about vouchers. You wait for years to get a HUD voucher. Then you have 3 months to find a place that will rent to you with a voucher, which is almost impossible. After that is exhausted, the 3 months is exhausted, you not found a place, you lose that voucher and you go back to the beginning. So, is there a possibility that the city can pass an ordinance or something that requires at least a certain percentage of properties to allow voucher use?
Well, they do allow it.
So a
Just
percent,
they
go
won't
ahead.
accept.
Well, I was just going to say, not unless you're receiving some sort of public subsidy or funding, we couldn't require anyone to accept a voucher.
And I can tell you too, with DHA, the friends that I have there, they said they are seeking properties that will allow, they have lots of money that they can give, but this, in our community right now, is booming. And
nobody will rent.
So you can't make someone who is a private owner want to give to Section 8 when they don't have to do the things that Section 8 requires, when they can rent and get more money than, so they're really trying to do.
But a lot of times for development, we get tax.
Now that's the government.
Right, so if you receive some sort of tax incentive or other kind of public funding, so that's how we can move you in. But
Okay,
if you
and
have
are we doing that?
there are instances where folks are receiving TIP and other types of funding, and yeah, there is an affordable housing requirement that goes on there.
It's so cute. They'll build a big building
And
with
they
50
only
some
require
units
10
and
to
they do
20%.
one
Right.
or something.
Yeah,
You
go
know, it's
ahead.
ridiculous.
Well, that's not what Kobe said, is when you're talking about tax incentives and things like that, a builder will come if he wants some tax incentives, he will get a certain percentage. Required, no, but he also knows that's gonna help push his project. So it is happening a little bit more, I think, than it had been in the past. But like Valencia said, we have such a growing, area, metropolis, whatever you wanna call it, that, if you can get this much, why would you sell for that much? I mean, and that's that, they're out to make their money. But I think if you look at it as a tax incentive, you'll see consistently that a builder will say, we'll percent off or X off so many units for a break.
Well, they're not gonna lose anything. This is a subsidy between what they're charging and 20% of whatever the fee is.
Well, but they do lose, and the thing is.
Yeah, they can't rent, they can't have
But
a big
what I
voucher.
hear, and it's really great, we have a housing committee.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this information we'll bring to Commissioner Bill Gard, and we'll have him work around in his committee and see what they can do as far as getting more information or having appointments with the appropriate city people to have a discussion about this, because it's obviously something we need to look at, and Doc has something to say.
Okay, I don't have the permission to represent them, but I will mention that MDHA, that Metro Dallas Housing Association, does a lot of this work, probably smooth out some of the paperwork, help people out, we have direct access to them on second Friday of every month at downtown Dallas Library and Civic Board.
Okay, that's good information for us to
We're
share with
familiar
Commissioner
that,
Gard.
and I think that what we want to do is kind of look at some, like, we're looking at new and different, and maybe we can look at some new and different ways we can subsidize some of our senior housing issues, because if a senior is making only $1,600 a month, and they're moving to apartments where they have to do senior housing twice the amount of money, which is good. But then that means they're paying $800 for rent, then another $300 for utilities, and then if they have anything else, they're really strapped. So if they work though, then so there's some things we can look at, and I think it'd be good to have that in the housing area, to look at just what we have.
And they are part of our stakeholder group too. So,
Yeah, so
thank you.
I'm going to move us along to socialization, participation, inclusion. Do you want to talk about
And
that?
I think, we've talked a lot about that with just the park and rec discussion, but a couple of things that I just wanted to mention is, the city has started doing an interagency committee, or interagency meeting, so we have libraries, parks and recs, cultural affairs, and senior services now meeting on how to meet the needs of seniors, so that's something that I think is real positive. And we're also going to be working on developing an age-friendly communities business practices, so that businesses will be able to get an age-friendly designation after going through some training on how to work with older adults and be more inclusive and make people feel more at home. So those are a couple of things we've been working on. Does anybody have anything to add in this area?
Our senior card would help with that.
Yeah, just that we are really going to sit and consider and meet with all kinds of different businesses about the senior card, which would be a deep discount card in conjunction with AARP's discount card, put them all together in one place, and they're for everyone. We're not going to even worry about socioeconomic levels because we're not going to segregate seniors. We're just going to say, this is a senior card, you have to be 60, you could have one. So that's a big project that we're going to work on.
What about our social isolation?
And we have a social isolation committee run by Commissioner Mary Ann Sparks, and we're working very heavily on Mayfair right now. Pardon me?
What is Mayfair?
And Mayfair is in, now, the new Mayfair, I'll call it the new Mayfair, new and beautiful new Mayfair, is really going to be an academic and social project. So seniors will come and actually learn things that they can take home with them, and then they'll party. Because we believe education and partying are still important to our older adult population. We still have to have some fun, and we still have a brain that can learn. So let's not cut people out. We have a couple of other events, but maybe Valencia can talk about them as we move on, because I'm afraid for time.
I think we're running out of time.
We are running out of time. Number 7.
We did hear a lot from older adults that they still want to engage in the workforce and volunteerism, and so trying, continuing to work with the Senior Source and their senior employment program. The Small Business Association and AARP have an Encore Entrepreneur program that helps older adults start businesses. They're one of the fastest growing groups that start businesses. And then volunteerism, just trying to connect people with volunteer opportunities. One thing we heard loud and clear is that transportation to go to volunteer is a real barrier. So we've got people that want to go work for free and work in the community and do things and be engaged, but they can't get there. So that's an issue that we really need to figure out how to address. Anything on volunteerism or employment?
Well, the Senior Source has RSVP
Yes.
and a number of other programs that are for volunteers.
Absolutely.
And they do have a van that takes them to schools for the whatever.
Right.
And Linda, you can talk more to that.
Well, they had senior centers when cities that I worked in. If you had a senior center, people went to the senior center, then they could go from a big van.
A big van to the volunteer opportunities. I love that model. I think the senior center model, senior source model is really good. It's not meeting the needs for everybody though.
Yeah, we do have the volunteers, and we place them in a lot of different situations. That's one of the things you have to get past, because people think of volunteerism as being in a hospital or in a school, but it can be all kinds of volunteering in all kinds of different situations. But I think this is an incredible opportunity for the city. We're always talking about needing manpower. Well, we have so many older adults, and they have so much to offer. They have a lot of wisdom, energy, and certainly a lot of them do volunteer on their own. But if older adults oftentimes need just a little help, a little nudge. You were talking about your mother a while ago, and how, sometimes it's hard to get her up and out, to go. But if they have something to go to that makes them feel really good, makes them feel that they have value, that they're contributing to society, they're more apt to get up and going.
Sure. That kind of leads us to the whole communication and information part of the domain. One thing people told us everywhere we've gone is that there is a need to have senior activities, volunteer opportunities, resources housed in one place. There's just, there's a lot of different places you can go to. Volley Now, if you want to find volunteer opportunities, Create the Good. There's all sorts of different websites you can get to. But we really feel like there needs to be one place where people can go to get all the information, and then if all the groups that are doing senior programming in the city could get on board about posting those opportunities into this website, I think it would be really awesome. We haven't quite figured out how to do that, but we're we've got something in the plan to figure out how to address that and find a way to get someone or some organization that will take responsibility for getting that kind of a website. And then also hoping we could connect them to resources that way as well. So you could go in and put in your zip code or your address, and it'll tell you what's going on that week in your immediate area and what resources you might need. We haven't figured out how to do it yet, but I really think it's a valuable idea to explore.
So it's activities?
Everything.
Activities and resources.
Everything. Yes.
I bring this up again.
Okay.
The country is filled with these things called disability, aging and disability resource centers. And Connect to Care exists. I mean, it's in place.
Sure.
And so I think that we might want to see about better utilizing that resource because it exists.
And you have 211.
Yeah.
You have the community council directory. I really think as far as services, you know, the effort would be better served in getting the word out about those. Now, the activities, I can see that. That's what we really.
So it could even be someplace that has the activities and then links to where they can go for the resources as well. I think that's a really good option as well. Yes, sir.
There's half-day senior care centers like respite care that we're the model for. That's done by missions of churches like North Park Presbyterian or Temple Shalom.
That's right.
Could be mirrored by many other churches that, you know,
Also
really
association.
where every church has a half-day senior program. And, you know, you don't have the funds to put your senior at a very pricey, swanky senior place.
You're right.
And distribute it around. So there's a handful of them, actually 3 of them in the city of Dallas.
Yeah.
It might be helpful to partner with other churches to make them aware to put the resources in the service of the community.
Yeah, I know years ago that was a big thrust from AARP, and not AARP, from Alzheimer's Association, to develop those in religious homes programs, half-day programs, and they lost, you know, their steam. A lot of programs had started and then dropped. Some were in the Richardson Senior Center. So it is a good idea to see if we can maybe help vamp that up again, because you're right. People can't afford the day-long daycare programs for older adults. They are so expensive. I know my mother has Alzheimer's disease, lives in a residential care home, and it would be $90 or $100 a day. And we can't. We're paying for care, we're paying for extra care, we just can't do it. So you're right.
These ones at North Park and Presbyterian and Temple of Shalom are not every day.
They're not every day. They're not in there, they're not all day. So respite programs for caregivers. Caregivers, believe me, that's my life. Caregivers really, the cost of caring should not hurt.
I only mention those programs because they seem to have it together. So
Yes, they
an
do.
example to follow to mirror.
They're good.
Yes,
programs.
they're really good, so thank you for that.
And I do think there's a need for us to just find out what faith-based programs are out there. That's one of the action items we have in our plan, is that we've got to do an inventory of what's out there.
We're just starting one too. Maybe Jerry will know about that one.
Yeah, we just started something called Friday Friends, and it is designed for the caregiver to have a couple of hours off.
Yes.
And so the people who are volunteers in our Friday Friends program work with the Alzheimer's patients, and then that gives a relief to the care providers, because it's such an important aspect to be able to have a relief for the care providers. And it's been really interesting to see who has been attracted to that program as volunteers from our church, because, for example, our church librarian lost her husband to Alzheimer's, and she is part of it. But then the president of our sanctuary choir has no relative, or, you know, he's not a care provider, but he just dove into it because he's a musician, and he just loves it, and he plays the piano for them.
What-
So they
what's
get
your-
Wilshire Baptist. So as the boomer generation ages and their responsibilities still to their family, now their grandchildren, their parents, the caregiver burden continues to overpower what's going on in our city. We have too many people that need help.
Can I go back? I have a question about housing. One of the problems I see is a lot of older seniors have limited incomes, but they have a mortgage-free home. And so they have upkeep, which we have some programming for, but taxes can be a real burden. Is the city looking at anything, I mean, what happens if a senior cannot pay the taxes on their home?
They lose their home.
Well, no, you can defer.
You can defer the
You can
tax.
defer the
Upon the
taxes,
death.
and upon death, they would be paid out of the estate. You can do that.
Well, I knew the state, you can defer your taxes, but I didn't know whether the city was looking at any kind of.
They've already.
We've already increased that number in the
Oh, I know
bond
that,
this
that's
year.
correct.
Yeah.
Because I pay a lot of taxes.
Y'all do.
We've heard that in every
too.
listening session too.
Fortunately, I can pay my taxes, but.
Yeah, it's a burden.
But there's no free living, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Community support services, we've heard a lot of people not really understanding that they might be eligible for the SNAP program for food assistance, and so we're working with the, what are they called?
Baylor, and we have
This
Baylor.
Mark Jacobson's group, it's a
Yes.
senior, that's it, Hunger Coalition, thank you.
Yeah, but it's through Baylor.
Yeah, it's funded through Baylor. And then just trying to find other ways that we can fight fraud and exploitation of seniors and just other things that are in the community. Does anybody have any comments on that area?
We're very fortunate to have the
Senior service.
seniors.
Yeah, we do. Mhm. Yeah, Financial Safety Center, if you don't know about it at the senior source, be sure to talk to Linda. They're amazing. We're going to work on the World Elder Abuse Day sometime in June. We've got a meeting on Friday, committees forming, and sexual abuse, financial abuse, emotional, social abuse, it's out there, it's big, we got to work hard. We gotta, yes.
Maybe a little funding might help for them because some of their reading materials are not translated to Spanish, and we're the Latino Cultural Center here, where I can safely say that. A couple of their associates are very aware of that, but they have a very limited number of translated documents, and certainly Dallas is international enough for that.
Is that with the Older Financial Safety Center?
Correct.
Okay, so we can let the senior person know that we have maybe a volunteer to help us?
Yeah, that would be great, so you need to connect with Linda before you leave. And I think that's an easy remedy, I don't think that's hard if we can have a volunteer help translate.
I can check with my volunteers as well.
Translated, but they're the more, the highly used, highly visible materials. When you get, deeper into the different programs, then you're not going to have everything translated.
But sometimes just the basics like the signaling or things that are senior targeted, large print, not even.
Yeah, I agree. I think everything has to be translated now. As complicated as it can be, people want to read materials, they want to hold it in their hand.
I believe Adult Protective Services has that as well. So we can make Adult Protective Services, Texas Department of Protective and Regulatory Family Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, which is our Adult Protective Services unit. They have it in Spanish because they have to work with all people.
Sure.
And that's the state that has a lot of money. Our financial center is something that we started new and different, which is awesome. And we work in conjunction with Adult Protective Services. So please use that and please share it because everybody can use more help.
Trini first, you guys have them all?
No, Trini, no.
Could major support services include family members? Because there's so many cases where, especially in the Hispanic community, where the elderly find themselves alone, and they have children all around them that never come to see them or never care for them. And I'm just wondering if there was some way that you could convene all those family members and make them aware of the needs of that elderly person, and then have them decide how they can meet that person. And I know that some will and some will not because they have family members. But explore the possibility of family members supporting the elderly person.
Are you treating like a volunteer program that would coordinate family members to the needs of people that are isolated?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's put that down. I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Well, I think we do have that at the senior source because, but people have to want to do that and come to it, you know. But we've done quite a bit of that actually, where coming up with a care plan, our geriatric case managers will come up with a care plan for an individual, get the family together to share what the care plan is, and then everybody decides who will do what in administering the care plan, and it can prevent a lot of squabbling, which happens sometimes, you know, in situations like this.
See, just what I'm hearing is disseminating information about the resources that we already have in place in our city through senior, through the service organizations is not happening enough. Because we have programs that are in place, but we don't all know about them.
But we need more, I believe, more education training.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because a lot of seniors have to be the ones to initiate the involvement of their family and know how that's done. And that's what Linda's alluding to. They're there, the families are there, the caseworkers are there, but sometimes the families are not. So helping that person develop that is, because we can't make them. But that's something that we can educate to them as how important that is at the end of their life at this point. And that's one of the things that we focus on, inter-life issues, conversation project, etc.
We also at AARP have a program called Prepare to Care that helps family caregivers create that care plan and bring the other family members in. But
Consultation for family members, well, we support the neighbors who don't have anybody to support them. They'll bring enough food and what have you. So the family support, I think, is very important. And where it's not volunteered or interest, I mean, you're hearing about the needs of the parents who have raised them, and for whom they should have feel some responsibility, even if it's limited.
Thank you.
yeah.
Just real quick, I think that we need to expand our concept of true accessibility. It's more than just rants. I mean, it's things like we're talking a lot about communicating here, and beyond just whether it's what language it's in, are we looking, is it low literacy? We're assuming that we're working with populations who's intellectually are becoming more intellectually effective, not to mention the fact that people with intellectual disabilities from birth are now aging in our community where this has never happened before. So I just think that we really need signage needs to be considered. There needs just to be a broader concept of what it takes to make something genuinely accessible. And I think we just kind of a little narrow-minded.
We just had a really interesting conversation with the American Foundation for the Blind at one of our recent meetings. And I can't remember the name of the company, but there's a guy that's developed this thing. It's like a little tab that you can put on stuff, and then it connects through the cell phone. And so when the person that's blind walks up to the DART station, it'll say, buy your ticket to Jeeps. And again, really cool. So yeah, I think that the true accessibility is a really great point, because there's a lot of different things that, besides ramps, that have included in that.
I think another support that can be provided is helping them create their wheels.
Yeah, end of life designations and opportunities. The conversation project is something that we've talked about. Again, we're talking about education programs, and I'm listening really hard, and I hear what you're saying, and I think that we're just going to have to make that some of our potential goals about being better servants of education, just getting the word out better about all the things that are out there, and maybe creating some new possibilities as well. I think that would be wonderful. Thank you. So I think this wraps up the age-friendly livability community. If you want any more information about it, and we'll stay around, I'll answer questions. In closing, I want to thank you for attending. This wraps up the first series of listening sessions for the Senior Affairs Commission and its commissioners. We're going to work on doing more of these into the next quarter and then into the next quarter as we develop the concept that comes from your comments. We're going to listen really carefully and put it out to scale and see where do we want to concentrate our efforts, who needs to come and speak to the constituents in the districts. It's going to be really important, so I want to thank you for your comments. I want to thank the Office of Community Care and Senior Programs, again, Kobe Ransom, Valencia Hooper, Mikhail, Lynn, and Anna, and Parks and Rec too, who help us coordinate this effort. It's really a big job, and we're grateful that we can have a face in the community. I think you can use your commissioners, call them up, task them, ask them to come and do things for you, and ask them to come and speak to us as a group so we can get things done that you need, that you want. Let your voice be loud. Let it be heard. Don't sit back and wait. Time is going, so now is the time to have a voice in your community, and please feel free to contact me. I will give you my card. Contact the Office of Senior Affairs. You can call Valencia, you can call Kobe. And again, thank you very much for coming out this morning. If you have any questions and you want to stay a little bit after, again, your support really makes a difference. Thank you.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.